Shri Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om. Om Akhandananda Sambodha Bandanatyasya Jayate Govindam Tamaham Vande Chidananda Tanum Gurum. So yesterday we were seeing vākyārtha anuvatya eva lakṣaṇā abhivagamyate sambandhanuvatya cha lakṣaṇā iti jaguhu buddhaha. So there it seems to be there are two schools of thoughts here. One is vākyārtha anuvatya. Anuvatya means possibility. Anuvatya means impossibility. Because of the impossibility of the word meaning, we resort to the implied meaning. Okay. But buddhaha jagu, the knowledgeable ones, the learned ones, they say that because of the sambandha anuvatya, because of the impossibility of the relationship, syntactical connection, we resort to the implied meaning. So what we say is because of the impossibility of the word meaning, we resort to the implied meaning. We just leave that. Because of the impossibility of word meaning. And what do the learned ones say? Because of the impossibility of relationship, syntactical connection. If we say the learned ones say, the intelligent ones say, or anything like that, then we say, when we say, what we say is, if we start like that, then they say, the learned ones say, but what we say is, if we say like that, what does that mean? We idiots say, that is not the reason, that is not right. You understand? That is not right. So this seems to be two different definitions, but it is not two different definitions. Vācyārtha, the word meaning. Why is the word meaning not impossible? Because the association of one word with another word, if you take the word meaning, is impossible. That is what is sambandha. Then why is it say in the second line, sambandhanuvatya? See, as you understood, the word meaning is impossible, therefore we resort to the implied meaning. But why is the word meaning impossible? That is what the learned ones accept. That's the definition. The second line is the definition. Shakya artha sambandha tatparya anubhavattihi. Shakyartha means the word meaning. Tatparya, purport. Anubhavatya, impossibility. Because of the impossibility to gain the purport of the word meaning, the purport through the purport of the statement through the connection, syntactical connection, we resort to the implied meaning. So they are both same, but one is the definition. The second, the first one, the first line is based on our understanding. Okay, so gaṅgāyāṃ ghoṣa ityādau ya jahallakṣaṇā matā na sā tattvamasītyatra vākya esha pravartate. Now he is going to the next stage of explaining the different types of lakṣaṇā, implied meaning. What is the implied meaning? We have three different types of implied meaning. The first type is what is discussed now. Three types of implied meaning. Jahat lakṣaṇā, ajahat lakṣaṇā, jahat ajahat lakṣaṇā. Jahat, if you understand that is a negative compound. Ajahat. Then jahat ajahat. The third one is first one and second one included. Okay. First, therefore, we have to understand what is jahat lakṣaṇā. From which root word does it come? Jahat, the word comes from the root word ohak tyāge. Ohak tyāge. Ha, o, ha, k. Okay. So, o also and the k also gets dropped, only ha remains. Okay. Ha becomes short. Ha, ha. The first, that's doubling is called as a, doubling a character is called as a abhyasa. The first word is called as abhyasa. Okay. So, after doubling, dritva we say. So after the dritva, after the doubling, the first word which is abhyasa will get a cha. Abhyase charcha. Okay. So it will become ja. Jahat. Jahat. Jahat, ohak, tyāge, to give up, to renounce. So, to renounce, to give up, that is what is jahat means. Okay. So, to give up is jahat. Jahat, not to give up. Jahat, ajahat, to give up and not to give up. To partially give up and partially not give up. That's the idea. Okay. So, jahat. So, he says, gaṅgāyāṃ ghoṣa. That is the example. gaṅgāyāṃ ghoṣa ityādau ya jahallakṣaṇā matā na sa tattvamasītyatra vākye yesha pravartate. gaṅgāyāṃ ghoṣa. gaṅgāyāṃ is seventh case. Seventh case is ādhāra. Adhikarana. Adhikarane saptami. In the sense of adhikarana, seventh case is used. What is adhikarana? Ādhāro adhikaranam. Another sutra. Ādhāraha is adhikaranam. The substratum, the base is what is called as adhikarana. Why do you have to discuss those things, Sanskrit things? Because the seventh case, it defines ādhāra, and whatever is placed on the ādhāra is called as ādheya. Ādhāra and whatever is associated with that ādhāra is called as ādheya. And here we have the association, because we saw in the earlier shlokas that either to the visheshana visheshya sambandha or any other sambandha, itarasya, any other sambandha, it is impossible. So the other impossibility of relationship, one is a adjective-adjectified relationship. Now we are going into substratum and not superimposed. The base and the based. Base and the based. Okay, Ādhāra is the base, and on which that which is existing on the base is based. Let us take that. Base-based association. Ādhāra, ādheya, bhava, sambandha. Okay. So, Ādhāra, what is the substratum? We give, for people who have heard me earlier in some of the classes, I would have said this example. Or people, if you are a South Indian, especially a Tamilian, and you have heard the stories from your grandmother, then you would have heard this story. The story of this musician, this logician, who starts logically debating whether is the cup the base for the butter inside, or butter the base for the cup. Is the cup base or the butter base? Is the cup base for butter or butter base for cup? Okay, that's the story. Now, we'll not forget about the story. Now, Ādhāra ādheya, the base and that which is on it. Saptami, seventh case. In seventh case, what and all we discuss in the seventh case? In, on, etc. we use. gaṅgāyāṃ, in the Ganges, in the flow of Ganges. Ghoṣa means it is hut. So, in the or on the flow of Ganges, hut. The hut is on the flow of Ganges, or in the hut is in the flow of Ganges. This is impossible. How can a house be in the Ganges? Because it's a very, very powerful current. It will just carry it away. So it is impossible. No, see, in Kashmir, I have been to one of the houses there. In Kashmir, they have a boat house in Dal Lake. Okay. Now, boat house. That is boat house, not a house. If you are talking about boat house, then I can also talk about the extravagant ship house. Like they go for vacation in ship. So they have a big ship or yak, everything. So you have ship or yak or even commercial ship, which carries stuff from here to there. They also have different rooms. So that also has a house. We are not talking about, we are talking about only house, not boat. Only house. Okay. That is impossible. But now there was a cyclone in south, in Tamil Nadu. The cyclone is called as Fengal. It's not yet gone. It has gone to Bangalore. Okay. It crossed our ashram and went to Bangalore. From the ocean, Chennai and all that it came. Anyway, during this, in many places, it created a havoc, meaning the houses are flooded with water. The reason is our stupidity, not just the rains. The reason is also our stupidity. The water reservoirs, whatever that is, if whether it's a lake or it's a dam, whatever it is, they have not cleaned these places. You have to desilt it, right? So they have not desilted it. So because of the silt, already there is water and there is a silt water, and then little bit water it gets filled up. So this is one of the reasons. But they opened because of the overflow, they had to open the dams and all that. Some places the lake broke. So the water or lake overflow. So the water came into the houses. Gaṅgāyāṃ ghoṣa. Instead of taking the implied meaning for the gaṅgāyāṃ as adhara, you take implied meaning for Ganga as any river. You have many of these rivers in which the houses exist, but that's not a common thing. That's not a general thing. We are not talking about that's a exception. So we are talking generally. So generally speaking, the house cannot exist in or on the Ganges. Okay. So ityādau ya jahallakṣaṇā matā. The jahallakṣaṇā which is accepted, jahallakṣaṇā, torli, jahallakṣaṇā. There is a sutra called torli which makes it jahallakṣaṇā. Okay. Sa tattvamasītyatra, that lakṣaṇā, that implied meaning called jahallakṣaṇā, giving up implied meaning, that implied meaning in tattvamasītyatra vākya, in this statement of tattvamasī, esha na pravartate. This jahallakṣaṇā cannot be accepted. It cannot be used. Okay. Why? First, let us understand what the example is. Gaṅgāyāṃ ghoṣa. Though we understood it, he is explaining it through the shlokas. Gaṅgāyā api ghoṣasya ādhārādheyatvalakṣaṇaḥ sarvo viruddho vākyārthah tatra pratyakṣatah matā gaṅgāsambandhavattīre lakṣaṇā sampravartate. Gaṅgāyāः api ghoṣasya ādhārādheyatvalakṣaṇaḥ sarvo viruddhah vākyārthah tatra pratyakṣatah tathā gaṅgāsambandhavattīre lakṣaṇā sampravartate. Tatra, in the example which we saw, which is a gaṅgāyāṃ ghoṣa. In that example, gaṅgāyāः api ghoṣasya api, both the Ganges as well as the hut, for both of these, ādhārādheyatvalakṣaṇaḥ, there is an association which is called as which is of the nature of a lakṣaṇah, which is of the nature of a ādhārādheya, the base and the based, the base and that which is based on it. Ādhāra, base, and ādheya, that which is based on it. Okay, based lakṣaṇa. Now, vākyārthah sarvah pratyakṣatah viruddhah. Now, the whole statement, gaṅgāyāṃ ghoṣa, the whole statement, the meaning of this statement is completely in contradiction, entirely in contradiction with the direct perception. There is no possibility of the hut to be in or on the Ganges. Therefore, completely, entirely, remember this. First is ādhārādheyatvalakṣaṇaḥ, of the nature of a base and based. First. The second thing which you have to remember is completely contradictory. Tathā, therefore, gaṅgāsambandhavattīre, the one which is associated with the Ganges, the one, the vat, The one that which is associated, sambandha, Ganga. So the one that which is associated with the Ganges, which is the banks, tire, the shore. Okay, there, tire, in that, lakṣaṇā sampravartate. The implied meaning is acceptable. In the base and the based association, in the base and the based association, there is a complete contradiction. There is some complete impossibility. Therefore, we resort to the one which is associated with the Ganges, which is the banks, the river, the shore. Okay. Now, example understood. Why is it not applicable in the exemplified? He says, tathā tattvamasītyatra caitanyaikatvalakṣaṇe vivakṣite vākyārthe aparokṣatvādilakṣaṇaḥ virudhyate bhāgamātro natu sarvo virudhyate tasmājjahallakṣaṇāyāḥ pravrṭtirnātra yujyate tathā tattvamasītyatra caitanyaikatvalakṣaṇe vivakṣite tu vākyārthe'parokṣatvādilakṣaṇaḥ virudhyate bhāgamātro natu sarvo virudhyate tasmājjahallakṣaṇāyāḥ pravartate atra na yujyate. Tathā, similarly, example based first and second is sarvah, completely, entirely. Okay, so these are the two things which we have to remember in the example. Now here, tattvamasītyatra. In the statement tattvamasī, caitanyaikatvalakṣaṇā, there base-based association. Here, what we have to establish is, there we have to establish the base-based association. Here, we have to establish the oneness of consciousness. The consciousness same. Maya associated consciousness, avidya associated consciousness. The consciousness is same. Aikya, identical. That is what we have to establish. That is the consciousness identity is what we have to establish. Right? So, vivakṣite tu, bhaktumichcha vaksha. That is the desire to establish. That is what we want to establish through this tattvamasī. To establish that identity between the consciousness of two tat and tvam. But the problem is two. But vākyārthe'parokṣatvādilakṣaṇa virudhyate. In the statement tattvam asi, in the tat and tvam, in the vākyārtha, in the word meaning of tat and tvam, the statement of tat and tvam, the meaning of the statement of tat and tvam, aparokṣatvādilakṣaṇaḥ. There, sarvah, completely, entirely, there is a contradiction. Here, there is entirely, it is not contradictory. In both Maya associated consciousness, there is consciousness. Avidya associated consciousness, there is consciousness. The Maya and avidya, which is associated with that consciousness, that brings in a change, which is the self being the tattva being paroksha, mediate, and the jiva, the tvam being immediate, the tat being sarvajna, omniscient, the tvam being kinchigna, less knowledge, little knowledge. Okay, these kind of contradictions. Bhāgamātro virudhyate, only a portion of it is contradictory. Natu sarvah virudhyate, not completely, entirely contradictory. In tattvamasī, in gaṅgāyāṃ ghoṣa, there is completely contradiction. Ādhārādheyya bhava sambandha. But in the tattvamasī, with respect to the caitanyaikatva, there is not completely contradictory. Only one portion is contradictory. Therefore, tasmājjahallakṣaṇā pravarṭtirnātra na yujyate. You cannot resort to the jahallakṣaṇā. Do you understand? We resort to the jahallakṣaṇā because completely, entirely there is a contradiction. To establish the ādhārādheyya bhava sambandha, the base-based association. Here, there is not entirely contradiction because in both cases there is consciousness, but there is a mediacy, immediacy, etc. That portion there is contradiction. to establish the identity between consciousness in both. Okay, so therefore we cannot resort to only when there is entirely possibility, there entirely contradictory, we resort to the jahallakṣaṇā. Since there is no entire contradiction, we can't resort to the jahallakṣaṇā. But still, he says vākya. But why don't we give up? So he says vākyārthasya tu sarvasya tyāge na phalamīkṣyate nālikeraphalasyeva kaṭhinatvadhiyā nrunām vācyārthasya tu sarvasya tyāge na phalamīkṣyate nālikeraphalasyeva kaṭhinatvadhiyā nrunām. Example. There are two lines, and one is exemplified, the other is example. The first line is exemplified, the second line is example. First, we'll understand the example. Nrunām kaṭhinatvadhiyā nālikeraphalasyeva iva phalamīkṣyate. Phalamīkṣyate can be associated with both. You cannot gain the results. Results where the example. In the example, what is the example? Kaṭhinatvadhiyā, because of the hardness, etc. idea. With respect to nālikeraphalasyeva. Kerala probably came from this nālikera, because there are too many nālikera trees. What is nālikera? Nālikera means